Hey, Rigsters here, back with part 2 of the 1996 Chevy Impala Super Sport. On the previous one, we started with a base A tune for circuit racing. I'm gonna show a Resvorio? Yeah, Resvorio Sprint. Say that 10 times fast. Event. And as before, because this game is not fully out, there is spoilers, so I just wanted to give that in advance. Some of these missions and stuff on the map, you don't get till later in the game, but it's not hard. We'll get right into it. Now, the one thing that they changed from Forza Horizon 4 is you have to get rid of your muscle memory. Because what happened is they moved the recommended tab here. You want to drive the current car, which is, for me, the 96 Chevy, you have to go to the right just one. Just like that there. So you just press A here. And there you go. I like the new rotating the car on a pedestal effect. And look at those nice reflections. That is so nice. Now, for YouTube reasons, I have switched off the music. And which is nice is that when you switch off music in this game in the options, it completely shuts it off. So even in the stadiums, they don't play music, which is good. If you're recording, that is. Oh, Viper? Hey. So they do have the older Viper. Alright, so before I start this race, this is a little bit different than in Forza Horizon 4. They changed it up a little bit. You can actually do a last minute change on difficulty settings, which is right here. In particular, I prefer doing one step below unbeatable. The AI, so far, knock on wood, is much more difficult in this game than it used to be. And of course, you can make this game as easy or as hard as you want. I personally prefer keeping off traction and stability control. That's just a preference for me. But you can turn those on or off as needed. I prefer simulation for steering. I use a Xbox gamepad. But most people, I would suggest starting with standard. Or if you're really new to any racing game, do like assisted. To start off with, I have no idea why you would want auto steering. That is actually either something new they added to this particular Forza edition, or it's just been there and I just never noticed it. And for damage, well, I like cosmetic because I like to actually see if I messed up or not. Rewind is a preference thing. I keep it off because if I make a mistake, I want that to be off. And shifting, that's also a preference thing. I prefer manual. And there you go. That's pretty much it. Outside of that, it's pretty much the same thing as in Horizon 4 as a comparison. And for the audio, there's one last thing I'll just mention here. You can completely turn off the radio. You can have your speakers set up, of course. And you can turn on or off the GPS voice and the radio DJ if you want to. There's also what I've heard is streamer mode. Where is that? Oh. I guess you can do that if you're streaming. I haven't really played around with that setting, but it's nice to see there. And there we go. Let's get going. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get started the race. Now, for this tune, I did not touch anything outside of the parts from the first video. So I'm going to see what needs adjusted, and I'll go through that in the race. Maps are beautiful in this game. And so are the interiors, of course. Oh my goodness, already breaking the speedometer on this car. That nice, cheap, chintzy, plastic 90s cheese. Back in the good old days. And this is also some review here. Yeah, you have to kind of ignore the rev tach on some of these cars you soup up because this engine actually makes its power at higher RPMs than it originally did. Oh, and one other nice thing is the odometer is modeled for this car. It's pretty cool. It's neat little touches like that that I like noticing in these kind of games. That's just a preference thing of mine. Most people would probably not care less about that. I gotta find a way of turning off Steam notifications. Whoops. Well, that is somebody I've talked to before, but in a completely different game. And as a denote from the scenery, it's so amazing. This is the hood view. Oh. I did notice that the gear ratios are probably going to be the first thing I'll go over. Ow. See, that's what I mean. The AI is more aggressive too. This is like this is the view I normally use to drive. There's also this view here, which I never actually tried before. I'm gonna try it anyways. Because why not? Man, it's good grip. Just looking behind there just to see what was left there. And when you have a braking line, I may actually turn off that line sometime as I get more familiar with the courses. And there we go. They had a little dramatic effect here. They changed how you get experience points screen and stuff like that as well. It's a little bit more dramatic and more pop whiz bang. But I'm gonna do a restart because I think I can finish better than 6. So let's tune this car real quick. Let's go to the gear ratios. So this graphic changed a little bit. So now, unlike in Forza Horizon 4, where some of the detailed information wasn't shown unless we went to a different screen, they now made it more clear and readable there. And of course, a lot of the hints and descriptions above the page near the top right corner, they kind of adjust stuff there as well, like where it's located. So, for the easiest thing to do with gearing, what I've noticed about this car is it needs a little more acceleration. So the simple thing to do when you first trying to figure out how to get these gears to work better, ratio-wise, is to start with the final drive. That's like your overall ratio. So I'm going to slide that towards acceleration. Just like that there. And maybe one more, too. There, that's better. So, what I'm looking for is right around in this corner of the screen. I'm looking at these bars here. The bar I'm trying to match is first gear, which is right here, and 8th gear, which is right over here. With 8th gear, kind of want it to be either just at the edge, which is right about here, or just a smidge past that is a good place to start if you want to have the gears to be usable. Because what can happen is, if you do, for example, say, make the speed go all the way to the left like that, the gears go off the chart. And what that means is, after, say, 5th gear with the mouse here, it's pretty much 6th, 7th, and 8th are going to be pretty much almost unusable, or they'll be so tall that you gain no acceleration. And that's not good. We want acceleration. So I was at like 354. So that's the first thing to do. I'm going to just start out with that. Over time, you'll start fiddling also with like 1st and 8th gear, which would be next. You want to first start with those 2 gears and then just go in between the gears. This is usually how I prefer doing it, but some players just start with final gear and then go up. I prefer to do 1st gear and last gear at the same time, but that's just a preference. Another thing I've noticed is the arrow is a little bit too much. Since we have a rear wing, we can adjust it towards speed, which will help it be less drag inducing, so we might gain a little bit more top speed. I think it was understeering too much at speed. And usually in Forza I've noticed generally the aerodynamics really don't start taking effect till approximately faster than 50 miles an hour or kilometer equivalent. After that, then it starts actually working. If you're below that speed, the physics model, or like in real life too, because there's not enough air flowing over the car, doesn't become as effective. So we'll put a little more towards speed in that case. If you find your car is oversteering too much at speed, and you have aero enabled, in this case for the rear, you could also do it for the front as well. It kind of would help to balance that out after a while. Another thing that's important we'll tune before doing the next race is the differential. This is changed from Horizon 4. In 5, unlike in 4, you normally just put it towards 90%, 80-90%, slap it there and call it a day. In this version, since the cars have more grip, you do too much differential, you understeer, meaning that the car plows or misses the turn. It doesn't go inwards as much as you'd hope. So you got to be careful with the acceleration part of the differential. In this case, I'm going to bump it from, let's see, where did they put it at, 20? I'm going to do 10% more there. Deceleration also has changed in this version. In the old version, you just matched like for like. Like, as if it's at 30%, you put it at 30% for deceleration as well. In this game, you might actually want to do a different mindset. I'm going to lower it from, let's see here, what was it at by default, 35. I'm going to lower that to 25%, do a 10% reduction. That way, under deceleration, meaning that if you let off the gas or you start braking, it will start locking up. And sometimes if you have it too low or too high, you can have the unintended effect of either oversteering when you're braking or understeering when you're braking, when you're trying to correct for the turn. That's what that basically means. So with that in the other way, let's do the next race. Much better acceleration. So just tweaking the final drive, I already noticed an improvement on there. Let's see how the handling does. This with the arrow and differential. Much better. Oh, that is much easier. And I'm already in 8th gear, gaining speed, just like I should. Whereas before, we were in 6th and 7th gear, very gaining speed after a while. Just those two simple tunes made this much better so far. Now let's check the handling for this corner. Good, it slides a little bit, that's fine. You're going to slide a little bit in rear-wheel drive cars. Even when you have good tire compounding grip, it's just how much of that you want it to do. And that takes practice with managing your gas, and also with how you take turns. There you go, it just easily passed that quad. Yeah, I like this setup much better. Not really much else I wanted to really touch on this Impala for now. I'll just have to just get used to the flow of this car and just start driving it. Got to set up this more where I want it to be. And that's the beauty of this game. Or any Forza Horizon series. Once you get that set up the way you want it, you can just go out and drive. You just get better at it. There is also the Buick Grand National going to be there. So that's new to this particular race. So there we go. We went from 6th to 4th so far. I might be able to catch 3rd. Now the reason why I'm being a little conservative in some of these turns is because I'm trying to denote what the differential is feeling like. And if you have a Xbox controller or a controller that has vibration, you can feel that vibrating through your controller, warning you that the grip is getting loose. Or you're starting to fight traction. And it was happening much less frequent, far less frequently, in fact, than what the initial tune this car came with. That is significantly better. I'm gonna accept that result. There you go. Event complete. So that's basically just a taste of what an A-class street tune looks like and how you can do just some simple tweaks there and also get to see the game and just be talking about random car stuff as usual. And my goodness, is this scenery amazing. And the map is indeed bigger by 1.5 times. And even though that doesn't sound like a lot, it is much more than you think. So, yep, that's all I got for this particular video. Hope you enjoyed this video. On the next one, I'll either do a different car, different tune, or something else in this wonderful game. This is Rigsters Journey, signing off.